to my channel. We have a Star Wars toy review, and today will be the first of several reviews in the Disney Store exclusive Elite series. In the case right here, I have the Disney Store exclusive Elite series K-2SO. Now this figure was released in late 2016. He is an exclusive to, as stated before, Walt Disney stores, and his suggested retail is $26.99. Now, before I get into the figure himself, let's take a quick look at his packaging. Now let's take a quick look at K-2SO's packaging. First off, the top left-hand corner, we have the Disney Store logo. Now on the lower left-hand side, a sticker saying this is a die-cast figure. And along the bottom center, we have the Star Wars Elite Series logo, along with the name of the character. Now, along the reverse side of the packaging, along the top, we have the Star Wars Elite Series logo again, along with the name of the character. And along the middle, a brief description about the Elite Series, about how it has Star Wars fans in mind. Now, as far as the description for K2 goes, it reads, a reprogrammed Imperial Enforcer droid now loyal to the Alliance, K-2SO is an alarming sight standing within a secret rebel base. The pragmatic droid is an effective insertion agent, as he can blend in perfectly at Imperial installations and outposts. Now, as far as the bottom of the packaging is concerned, we have the authentic Disney Store seal on the left. And with that being shown, let's get right back to the figure itself. And now let's get a 360-degree view on this figure. Now, there's a few things about this figure I find rather fascinating. Now, let me start off with a few of them really quick. With the exceptions of the head, the neck, and the hands, this figure is entirely die-cast. Yes, with those few exceptions, this figure is entirely made of die-cast. This is metal. And he's got the heft to prove it. Now, just for an idea of a comparison, here he is right next to the standard Black Series K-2SO, the Black Series being on the right. Now, as you can see, the Elite Series one is just a smidget taller, not by much, and even then, that's only because there's a little bit more movement for the head to go backwards. Now, as far as the articulation is concerned, let me go ahead and say that the Black Series has this one beat by several points of articulation, but the articulation on this one, for what it is still not bad. Now, let me move the Black Series one out of the way. Now, as far as the articulation on him is concerned, you're talking a ball hinge shoulder, hinge elbows, swivel wrist. The head itself is, I guess you could say it's technically on the ball joint. It adds more like a swivel though. It's got a little bit of movement. The neck itself can go up and down. The hip is on a ball joint. Hinge knees and hinge ankles. For a figure that is die-cast, this still has a very impressive range of movement. Now, granted, if you want the more dynamic poses, the Black Series one is the way to go. Now, if I am to say what it is I like about the Elite Series over the Black Series, there's actually a couple things I actually do like I prefer about this over the Black Series one. First off, I just really like the color tone, the colors on this one much better. This to me looks more movie accurate, more screen accurate than this one, because this one looks more like a faded black, whereas this one's more like a gunmetal. This to me just looks more accurate. As far as I'm concerned, this is the more accurate color scheme for Rogue One. Not only that, aside from the fact he's die-cast, I actually like the hands on him so much better. I like the detail that is in these hands. I mean, those look really good. The fact that the the fact that there is individual detailing on the fingers. Now we compare that to the Black Series. I mean, yeah, there's still some detailing, and yes, there's a swivel hinge at the wrist, but the way the grips, the way the hand is, yeah, it's more like so you can give this version of K2 a blaster to hold if you want to. Now, if I am to pick what I don't like about this version of K2, there's a couple of things I can actually point out. For one thing, one of the things I actually do prefer about the Black Series over the Elite Series K2 is I do like the detailing of the Imperial, I guess you call it Imperial cod on the shoulder, as this, for me, is actually much more screen accurate than whatever that's supposed to be right there. Another thing I do like is, as far as the Black Series is concerned, I actually like the fact it shows a fair bit more weathering, like actual wear and tear. Whereas the Elite Series one, I mean, yeah, there's a spot or two looks like it has wear or tear, but for the most part, he looks like he's about like new droid compared to the Black Series one. And that was the appearance that he had in Rogue One. Another thing that I do have a small minor problem with, well, first off, let me go ahead and show the base that it comes with. First off, this is the default base that comes with each Elite Series figure. First off, I don't have a problem with the stand itself. I like the stand, actually. Now it's got Star Wars embossed into the base itself. Now it's got the little peg hole right here, so you stick the peg hole in the bottom of the foot on here to make the figure stand. However, there is one tiny little problem with that. Oh no, it's not that he doesn't have a peg hole in the bottom of his foot, far from it. It's just this. Compare the size of the peg to the size of the peg hole on his foot. As you can see, this is way too big for this. I'm not kidding. This is the stand that came with him. And as you can see, it doesn't even lock in. And now, another problem that goes with that is my experience with these Elite Series so far is that they will have weak weak tightness in the ankles. This little bit of articulation down here will loosen up, which will cause the figure, because it is actually kind of top heavy, to topple either forward or backwards. And the peg usually helps with keeping them to stand up. That's typically what the peg in the base is really good for. But in this case, since he won't actually peg in, he just kind of stands there, which is good so far. I know at some point this is going to loosen up and he is going to fall either backwards or forwards. But those are the only real complaints I really do have. Now, another great thing I can show about this figure real quick, if you want to have some other characters from Star Wars for him as far as a size comparison is concerned, here he is right next to a Black Series Imperial Stormtrooper. And the funny thing is, yes, there is an Elite Series Stormtrooper, which I do have on hand. However, this Black Series one is actually accurate as far as the scaling is concerned. So if you have this K-2SO, you have several of these Black Series Imperial Stormtroopers, you can actually recreate a few different scenes, minus, I don't know, maybe him picking them up and throwing them like rag dolls. But as far as the height comparison is concerned, this Stormtrooper is accurate. And if you compare the Elite Series Imperial Stormtrooper right next to K-2SO, he's actually a bit too tall, especially as far as the scaling is concerned. So if you really want to scale a Stormtrooper to K2, the Elite Series K2 accurately, you gotta have him standing right next to a Black Series Imperial Stormtrooper. Here he is also right next to Captain Cassian Andor. as well as next to Sergeant K-2SO. And as far as my overall verdict on the Disney Store exclusive Elite Series K-2SO, this is probably going to be the most screen accurate version of the character outside of maybe a Hot Toys. Now, if you're looking for the articulation, the posability, then I would just stick with the Black Series version. But if you're looking for screen accuracy, you're just wanting one that just looks flat out cool. And on top of that, if you prefer your droid action figure to be made of diecast, then this is the droid you're looking for. Now, my only real complaint, honestly, is really the peg hole that's in his, for the base versus the peg hole in his foot. That's my only real gripe I really do have about this. But other than that, this is a dead solid representation of the character of K-2SO. So if you can find him, especially for a reasonable price, pick him up. He's well worth getting. But that'll wrap up my review on the Disney Store exclusive Elite Series K-2SO. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.